Hello there. Yes, guys, it is that time of week yet again, tier list time. Today on FraudOnTheTele, we're going to be ranking every single Critical Role guest character. We've done a video kind of like this in the past, but today we're going to be ranking all of the Critical Role guest characters, specifically the characters, not the people themselves, as this list would look completely different when the tier list is said and done if we were ranking it based on how I feel about the people who play the characters. As always, if you enjoyed the video, learned something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to check out some of our other Critical Role content, as well as all of our other tier lists that we've done. Click the eye above. Don't forget to hit that tiny bell so my videos go directly into your feed. And let's just get right to it, shall we? But like always, we got our tier list here. Here are our tiers. Best, good, memorable, who, and not a fan. Who is specifically reserved for characters I feel like either weren't memorable or genuinely I don't remember them. There shouldn't be anyone on the list that I don't remember as a guest character. My memory is pretty good. I've watched every single episode of Critical Role ever put out, so surely I'll remember them all. Just a note, this video will contain spoilers for aspects of basically all the campaigns of Critical Role in some retrospect, because how could I talk about the guest characters in the campaigns without talking about details from these campaigns? In no particular order, we're starting off with a real bang, an easy best character in Spurt, played by Chris Perkins. Spurt may be the shortest lived guest character on Critical Role, but wow, did his impact really last on the fan base and on me. I love Chris Perkins. Hilarious character, awesome character, super memorable, very short screen time. What else can you really say? Spurt easily goes into best. Next up, Campaign 3 guest characters. Not very many of these so far. Dusk, played by Erika Ishii. Dusk is quite the interesting one, or should I say you, as this character was kind of the first character that was an antagonist to the party, as well as someone that Matt worked with to trick the party. Because of that, you know, I'm tempted to put Dusk in memorable, but personally, I really like the Among Us-esque kind of aspect of this whole story that they're using to tell with Dusk and you, even though we haven't heard anything from them in a while. But yeah, for that, to me, Dusk you going good, very unique character perspective and Critical Role guests, and personally, I really liked it. Next up, we have Reani. I believe that's who it is. Yes, Reani. That is, I believe, how you say her name from Campaign 2, played by one Mika Burton. Now, this character I feel like was very polarizing. For me, she's gonna probably go into memorable. There was some aspects about the character that I didn't like, but I think that's kind of partially the point of the character, as it was a very, like we said, polarizing character. I love Mika Burton. The character wasn't bad. She helped, the Mighty Nine find the White Dragon, right? So they could make Star Razor. I believe that's right. Good character arc that she got to be involved with. Her character was very unique, so yeah, for her, she's going into memorable, because if anything, the character was memorable. We have Garthok from Campaign 1, played by, what is his name? It's the guy that does the Critical Role music. I'm gonna look. Jason Charles Miller, that's right. Garthok goes in, unfortunately, he's gonna go in who? I remember Garthok. He has a very small role in Campaign 1. I think he was a class member. I think it was shortly after the Chroma Conclave arc that he made his appearance, but I don't really remember much about exactly what he did for Vox Machina besides helping them, I think, get in contact with the class, but I think that was it. Very short stint as a guest character. Nothing against the guy, obviously. I just don't really remember much about his character, and for that, he's going to go in who? Next up, Thorbir, played by Wil Wheaton. For me, this one's got to go into memorable. You could definitely make the argument for Wil Wheaton's character Thorbir to go into good, but I feel like a lot of what I liked about Thorbir boils down more to Wil Wheaton as a person and less to the character itself, even though the character was pretty funny. In a classic Wil Wheaton kind of really rash, brutish-esque character. Definitely memorable for me. Tempted to put it in good, but I think we're going to put Thorbir in memorable just in terms of the characters that we have coming up later. I think it kind of, we're going to be consistent here. Kashaw! Wilfredale. Now, Kashaw's got to go into best. I think that's a pretty easy one that goes into best. I mean, Wilfredale is awesome. the character itself, very, very funny, very, very rash, kind of similar to Will Wheaton's character in many ways. He's a fun, interesting story as well. He's one of the longest standing guest characters. I mean, how many times did Kashaw come back? He was all the way introduced in the Slayer's Take arc, but how many appearances did Kashaw make, even being in the Campaign 1 finale, basically? So Kashaw's got to go in best for longtime Critical Role fans, for sure. Next, we have Lillith, played by Kit Buss, I believe. I'm going to look. Yes, played by Kit Buss, one of the artists for Critical Role, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately for Lillith, she is going in who? Because Lillith made her appearance at the Briarwood debut, I believe, with the whole scene with the Briarwood and Uriel in the castle. I believe that was when Lillith made her debut. Unfortunately, though, because of the series of events that followed, as well as a certain Orion Akaba, it felt like Lilith's role was really kind of underplayed, and I can't even really remember much of her story. Just that I think something about her sisters. That's literally all I remember. Maybe she is somehow related to Zahra or something to do with Zahra. I really can't remember. Unfortunately for Kit Buss and Lillith, she's going to go in who? But it's really not her fault. Speaking of Zahra, we have Zahra here. Zahra instantly goes into best, played by Mary Elizabeth McGinn. I believe that's how you say her last name. Zahra's awesome character. Her and Cash are kind of a duo, so if I'm putting Cash into best, I have to put Zahra into best for me. I love their character dynamic. I love the growth that we actually get to see their characters kind of have, which is really cool to see from guest characters, because like Kashaw, Zahra was on the show a lot. In terms of guest characters, I guess I should say. Next up, Kerrek, a personal favorite of mine, probably because he's played by Patrick Rothfuss, who I absolutely adore, but I actually really enjoyed the Kerrek character. He was memorable, dare I even say, good for his short stint on Critical Role. Kerrek played a really kind of fun, interesting mentor role with Keyleth that I really liked in Campaign 1, something that I don't think a lot of us really expected from Pat Rothfuss or his character for his short stint on the episode maybe 2 that he was on. I think he was on 1. I really can't remember. I'd have to look. He was on at least 1, obviously. But I really liked his mentor role that he played with Keyleth. It was a fun interaction for Keyleth's story, and she definitely needed this figure, I think, and it was cool seeing Pat fill those shoes. So yeah, Eric goes into good. Maybe a bit of a controversial pick, I'm not sure. Speaking of controversial, next up we have Naya, played by Sumali Montano. Now, Naya is a strange character. At the very least, I think we have to put Naya into memorable. I'm not the biggest fan of this character, mainly because it was just a very confusing character for me. But I think that's kind of maybe the aspect that Naya was going for here. I'm not really sure. Oh, just to note, I guess I should have said this earlier, we're not going to be including EXU Calamity or Exandria Unlimited characters, as they're not technically guest characters. They themselves are their own kind of mini production story. So yeah, so we're not doing that. Yeah, Naya goes into memorable. Maybe that's a bit controversial. I know a lot of people in the fan base liked her. Not my cup of tea. Next up, we have Lyra, played by Felicia Day, another one of the guest characters that was introduced in the Slayer's Take arc. Now, we love Felicia Day. It's funny that Felicia's character wasn't really reoccurring as much as the other characters introduced in the Slayer's Take arc, which is a little sad because I do love Felicia Day, and this character was interesting. I don't know. It was a funny character. I don't know where exactly to put her, though. Maybe not the most memorable character. She might go into who? Unfortunately, because of that Slayer's Take arc, and just all the problems that kind of were early Critical Role. She's kind of a casualty, I guess, of that, so we're going to stick her there, unfortunately. Following up, though, we have Dorian from Campaign 3. Dorian, for me, instantly goes into best. Love Lobby Draymond. Love Dorian's role in Campaign 3. A lot of people thought he was going to be a permanent party member. It sure seemed like that for a while. And I know some people were disappointed that he wasn't. I know there's also some people who really disliked Dorian and didn't want him to be a permanent Campaign 3 member. That's just how it goes sometimes with Critical Role and every big fan base. There's going to be haters and then anti-haters, back and forth. That's just how it goes. Personally, for me, love Robbie Draymond. One of the best, him and Dorian, one of the best character kind of dynamics with the current party. One that I really enjoyed his kind of long-term role in. Interesting that he was a character that was rollover from Exandria Unlimited, which I did not like that much. Not because of his character, though. But I'm glad that out of all of the characters, it was his character that got some more time on the Critical Role show, personally. Hello! We interrupt this video to bring you a word from our sponsor. You all, yes, you, the viewer. You are enjoying the content and want to help support me and continue to make videos like this one possible. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And if you're feeling extra generous, check the links down below, like our Patreon. Okay, guys, let's get back to the video. Next up, another controversial guest character from Campaign 2, Egg. Played by one Ashley Birch, who I recently saw in this show on Hulu the other day, which made me laugh. Keg is probably one of the most controversial guest characters on this list, or just in general in Critical Role, because obviously her role in Molly Mock's death. For me, though, Keg goes into good. While her decision in character triggered a lot of people, personally, I love characters like that and people who are willing to stick to their characters' decision in roleplay like they would. It's unfortunate the consequences played out like that, but that's just one of the beautiful things to me about D&D and roleplay. So well done to you, Ashley Birch. I'm sorry you got so much hate for that. I totally get why, though, because damn, you killed Molly Mock. Just kidding, but kinda. Anyway, though, for me, Keg goes in good. Minimum, she's in memorable. Probably the most memorable guest character from Campaign 2. Maybe just in general. So yeah, she definitely goes in good for me. Followed up by Tova, I believe her name was, the Werebear, played by Indy Stevenson in Campaign 1. I believe she made her appearances when Vox Machina went to hell. I think that's right. Or the Plane of Fire, but the hell was it? I can't remember. Something along those lines. The fact that I can't remember shows me she's not super memorable, besides the fact that it was like the first Werebear, I believe, that was introduced in Critical Role. Nothing against the person, just can't really remember much of their character, personally. Except Lionel Gayheart, played by possibly the most famous person to ever guest star on Critical Role, Jon Heder. Where does this go? Minimum, Lionel's got to go in good. Hilarious character. Obviously, Jon Heder, very funny. I loved his dynamic with Sam and Scanlan, and his dynamic with Grog and Travis. Whole funny thing. He got to be part of a very important episode too. His character was just very silly. I love silly characters, especially considering how silly it was wrapped up in the important story that it was. But at the end of the day, Lionel's just this big dumb oaf who a lot of people from the fan base fell in love with. It's hard to know if I'm biasly ranking him because of Jon Heder here or for the character itself, but I think for me, I kind of have to put him in good. At the very least, memorable. Because we remember so much about his character, and I feel like a lot of Critical Role fans instantly do, but probably a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's Jon Heder. Another character, though, who for me definitely goes into best is Sprigg, played by Darren DePaul. Besides the fact that Darren DePaul is an absolute gem of a human being, this character is an amazing character. This recluse gnome rogue who had formerly lost his party and had all this PTSD. These whole scenes, this is obviously the climax of the Vecna arc, kindly, because I believe Sprigg was the key for Ioun, was it? Something along those lines. Awesome character. I highly recommend you going and watching this episode back. Definitely one of the most complex roleplay intensive characters. Darren DePaul's performance is amazing, and for that, the character's got to go into best for me. Love Sprigg. Next up, we have Shale, another Chris Perkins character. This pains me to do, but I gotta put this character into who, because I literally don't remember anything about this character. Besides the fact that I think she was a Goliath, so she probably had something to do with the Herd of Storms and Grog's backstory, probably something with Kevdek. I really don't remember. Chris Perkins is great. We love Chris Perkins here on this channel, but yeah, can't really remember much about this character. Twiggy, for me, definitely memorable Campaign 2 character played by, I'm blanking on her name, I'm gonna have to look, she's an actress in a bunch of shows, Deborah Ann Wolf, that's her name. Twiggy, very memorable character, very eccentric, very weird. People love playing weird characters on Critical Role, I've noticed, but maybe that's just people like playing weird characters in D&D in general, which would make sense. Twiggy is the introduction to the Happy Fun Ball. and the mini adventures that gave the Mighty Nine. So at the very least, Twiggy has got to go into memorable for me. Besides her character being super eccentric, she introduced one of the craziest items in little mini arcs in Campaign 2. So for that, she's definitely memorable. Next up, Calianna, another guest character from Campaign 2, guest by Mark Humes. Fellow DM. Mark Humes is great. Obviously don't know, Mark Humes is the higher roller guy, and he's guest appearance in many different D&D shows. Unfortunately for him, his character for me is memorable, but maybe not in the way that he would have liked, because his character was the inception of Bowlgate, a little controversy in Campaign 2 that was pretty funny, and a lot of the community took way out of hand. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I highly recommending just Googling Critical Role Bowlgate, and you'll get a good synopsis of it. Maybe we'll even make a video of it, because it was just such a weird moment in Critical Role. For me, that was really hilarious, but a lot of the fan base got really upset by it in classic Critical Role fan base fashion. Coming down to our last two characters, we have Arkhan, played by Joe how do you say his name? Manganiello, something like that. Possibly maybe the actually most famous person in Critical Role guest history. He's definitely up there. Arkhan's got to go in good, man. I mean, one evil character, very cool. Arkhan's like actually in like D&D Wizards lore, I'm pretty sure, so that's pretty wild. Maybe this is another character where I'm not sure if it's because of my love for the person that maybe I rank the character higher than it is, but obviously he has that crazy moment in Critical Role history after the defeat of Vecna, you know, where he takes the thing and then, you know, bamps the heck out of there. You know what I'm talking about. If you've watched it, obviously, something that I can't wait to see in Legend of Vox Machina years from now. It's going to be an amazing moment. So yeah, for me, at the very least, Arkhan's got to go in memorable. I love the fact that he's an evil character. That's like, he's like maybe one of two evil guest characters. Possibly there were more, but I can't really think of them. So that's really cool. He was like an antagonist, but also like an ally. Overall, Arkhan, badass character, classic jock character that you would see played. And yeah, good character for Critical Role. Last but not least, another Campaign 2 guest, Shakäste. Shakäste for me has got to go into best, played by Carrie Payton. I believe that's how you say his name, Carrie Payton, something along those lines. Amazing actor, amazing performance. This character is awesome in every sense of the word. His impact was, I guess he had a bigger impact later on, maybe a little bit off screen, but his impact wasn't like super huge, but his character for me was just one of the best guest characters that I've seen, kind of similar to a Darren DePaul Sprigg-esque vibe. His performance was just super good. Another character that I highly recommend going back and watching the episode. He's just super charismatic, a fun character, a character that I really felt like is just, it's hard to not love and enjoy the on-screen time, and in hindsight, I wish we got a little more Shakäste in Campaign 2. Looking back over our list, I've been pretty diplomatic, and so we're really going to put ourselves out there then. I got to put at least one character in not a fan. I think it's got to be Nila, unfortunately. Maybe it's just because I just didn't understand Sumali's character that she was trying to put on here. Maybe that's a bit of a hot take, but it just didn't really land for me. I found her kind of weird. I don't want to say annoying, because that's not really right, and that sounds really freaking mean, and I don't mean it to be mean. Just not my cup of tea. Not really a guest character that I really enjoyed the time that she was on screen. I don't know. The character just kind of confused me, and if someone's got to be put in here, I guess it would maybe be her, or, I mean, if we really want to be mean, we could put Tova in here, just because, like, I don't really remember much of their character. But you know how these things work. We can't just make a tier list category and not put someone in there. So, unfortunately, I guess they're going to be sacrificed. And this, therefore, is our final tier list. We put a lot of people in best, but I guess that's just because a lot of these guest characters hold a special place in my heart when it comes to Critical Role. As always, guys, this tier list was just my opinion, so feel free to disagree with me in the comments down below, and I want to see your guys' tier lists as well, so please drop them in the comments down below, or if you disagreed with a certain character in a certain category, let me know why. Everyone's going to have their different favorites of their guest characters, even though I can imagine that a lot of you agree with me. in at least my best tier here. All right, guys, if you enjoyed the video, learn something new, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget to click that tiny bell and check out some of our other Critical Role in D&D and just content in general and other tier lists. As always, peace, love, Auto.